Hey everyone, it's Alan Brochstein with New Cannabis Ventures and 420 Investor here with your weekly cannabis market update. And before I get into the weekly, wow, what a bad month. And the last few weeks I've smiled because I got my new teeth in. I'm not smiling, but that was a smile. I can't smile. It's so bad. Now this week was I think our third straight big down week. And we did fall a little bit more than the S&P 500, but the last 2 weeks before, it was a double-digit decline against smaller than that for the S&P 500. So I know it's bad. It was bad in March of 20, if you remember that. That was when the COVID crisis was just emerging. And look back from that date until the end of 2020. Wow, was it good. Now, I don't know if that's the way it's going to play out. I know I've been publicly quite bullish on H2, and it's not really working out yet. It worked out for me and my model portfolios at 420 Investor in July especially, and even in August, the market pulled back a little bit and my model portfolios were still up. But wow, what a nasty September. Yes, we have company, right? We all are each other's witnesses to how bad the cannabis market can be. So again, I'm trying to provide all my friends with a weekly update, and this is based on a weekly review that I share with my subscribers on Friday afternoon, and I will publish the link to it, and you can sign up to get it emailed to you each week by just following me. And so there was no news this week for the industry, not really. And I did share 4 written things with my subscribers last week before the 3 that I sent last night. But importantly, I shared the 3rd article, featured article for my September monthly newsletter, which I shared last night. But when I write these articles during the month, I share them real time with my subscribers at 420 Investor. And the title of that one kind of corresponded to what I wrote about for New Cannabis Ventures weekly newsletter last week. And the title of it was Avoid Most Canadian LPs for Now. And it's these types of articles where I really give kind of big picture advice and insight that I think a lot of subscribers benefit from. I also shared a week ago Friday the same 3 things I shared last night, a cannabis subsector review, which the new one will be also linked in this article's, this video's summary. And then I also shared, as I always do on Fridays, a model portfolio composition review. Oh, in a subsector review. I think I mistitled that. It's the weekly review was the first one, not the subsector review. So those are the 3 things that I publish every Friday, and I find it useful myself, and I know subscribers benefit from that as well. So there are 31 names right now on the focus list, and there was news on, it looks like about 10 of them or so this week, and it doesn't really stand out. But I know a lot of people, their involvement with the cannabis market is every second, and then it's a waste of time. They've already seen it. Or a lot of people are busy in life, and they don't have every second. It might just be once a week or once a month. And so for the once a week people is what I share this for, but it's all previously reported. Ascend had some big news this week, and I know a lot of people were kind of worried about the battery charge that the now former CEO had, and I told my subscribers I didn't think he would be convicted of that, and I didn't think he would be forced to leave the CEO spot. And he did leave the CEO spot, and then later we found out the battery charge was dropped. And so he's going to become an executive chairman, or has become an executive chairman, and 2 of the people that are in the senior executive team right now are co-CEOs on an interim basis, and they've hired uh, Russell Reynolds' firm to help them find a new CEO. And I've talked to Abner Curtin once in my life, and I have kind of a mixed view, but I'll step back and just say people like Abner that are financial types don't necessarily make good CEOs. And without commenting on whether or not I thought he was a good CEO, I'm excited that they could bring in somebody who might be a good CEO. Some would say another good CEO. I don't know. Canopy Growth sold its Tweed and Tokyo smoke stores in Canada. And how much did they get? They didn't say. I think it's a good thing for Canopy Growth to exit that business. It was they were pretty much all alone on that front of trying to be a manufacturer and a store operator. And I think for anybody that thinks that Constellation is going to buy them, wow, is this right up Constellation's alley? The next piece of news was from Charlotte Webb, and they announced a distribution agreement with Southern Glazers, a wine and beer distributor. Fire and Flower opened a store co-located in a Circle K, and they've done that before in Alberta, I think 3 times. They did it in Toronto, not necessarily Toronto, but in the area. Green Lane cashed in on their headquarters. They took out $9.95 million, and the market didn't seem to care. But I will say that it's a good thing. This company had some debt that it was needed to pay, and it paid it already. But they are burning cash, and it's always good to have some cash. That's enough for that. Jushi filed a 10Q. Hooray! It's the first time they've done that. So they've gone from CDR to 10Qs. Lowell began selling their pre-rolls, the Lowell 35 in California this week. Planet 13 announced the first harvest from its newly expanded facility in Nevada. Trulieve came out last Saturday morning with news that they opened up 2 dispensaries. That was 2 press releases, by the way, in West Virginia. And they did the same today in a different state. But that was this coming weeks. You'll hear me talk about that on a week from today. And they also began selling Khalifa Kush cannabis in Florida. And Khalifa Kush, I don't know about that, but they've had a lot of associations with public companies, and I've never heard of it. I could be wrong. I've never heard of it really meaning much. But Trulieve's a good company, and they may make it mean something. Tilt Holdings did its 3rd amendment on a deal with IIPR to sell and lease back their Pennsylvania cultivation facility, and they expect it to close in November now. TerrAscend is going to be bringing cookies to Pennsylvania, and so that's good news. And then Verano, this is not widely reported, but I saw a filing from George Archos, the CEO and co-founder, and the filing was alarming. It talked about how he sold about 55,000 shares at about 475 US, 476, 475 and a half to be precise. And I saw it, I was like, wow, this guy's selling out at the all-time low. Well, it turns out, I talked to the company afterwards, and it turns out that it was a poorly worded SEC filing. And they should have put this in the filing, that it was related to an RSU grant and it was for tax purposes. That would have made it okay. So it was okay, but anybody that saw the filing must be alarmed, or because the stock moved to a new low after that. Maybe it's just the stock market, right? So that was the news that came out this week. As I mentioned earlier, the market fell, and it was down a lot in September, but we'll get to that. And for the week, it fell 3.8%, the global cannabis stock index that we maintain at New Cannabis Ventures. And by the way, That's expanded from 26 to 28 names at the close of business yesterday. 26 is low, 28 is still low. I think we maxed out at 45 or 50 names, if I'm not mistaken, but we go by the volumes, and it has to be a certain price. So the falling market has taken a few stocks out because of price, but also the volumes are down. And so we are down 3.8%, and that was down more than the S&P 500, which is down 2.8%, but wow, has this gotten better? And yesterday as a day, we did better than the S&P 500 in the global cannabis stock index. So something to watch. I ended up being wrong about the second half so far. I was looking forward in June to the second half. Well, Q3, the global cannabis stock index is down 23.7% after a 25.9% decline. And I did better in my model portfolios, but they were still down. Next, I want to talk about my model portfolios. Before I do that, the global cannabis stock index is now down year to date by 64, I'm trying to find it, 65.7%. That's almost 2/3. I think that's a record, by the way. And I was all excited when it was down in the low 50s, but no, we sold off after a little bit of a rally. Now I want to talk about the model portfolios. I run 3 model portfolios at 420 Investor, and 2 of them are pretty similar. One of them is very different, Flying High. I've been running Flying High since late 2013, and wow, is it having a rough year. I'm supposed to beat cash, and it did great in July. It was up 22%. It did okay in August. We were down a little. It was up 4%. But this month, whoa, it fell a lot. And the quarter-to-date loss after those 2 gains I mentioned was still 16.1%. And the year-to-date gain, it gained 16%, 16.6% last year, a down year. And so that was good. I beat cash and I beat the stock market. And right now in 2022, 3/4 of the way through, it's down. This is where the half came from. Just down by 50% even, half down. So it's not a good year. I have a little bit of an excuse. I was 2 months in the hospital, not really working, and that was a lot of the pain, but how's that free me up from this month? I don't know. The other 2 model portfolios, cannabis stock, 420 Opportunity was up 19% or so in July and almost 2% in August. It ended the quarter down 15%. That's a lot better than the global cannabis stock index, but not so good. So for the year, it's now down just trying to find that. 60.5%. So it's a little bit better than that 65.7% or whatever it was. So it's not something I would brag about. It is better, and it's not from market timing. It's from picking better securities. That's what I do. And sometimes I market time, but not because I want to. It's things like Jeff Sessions yanking the rules and sending the market into a tailspin. The second I saw that, I went to the maximum cash I was allowed to have. 420 Quality was up 20% in July and only 0.5% in August, and it ended up down 14.8% during Q3, and so better than the index. And for the year to date, it's now down 60.2%. So still, a little bit better than the 65.7% decline in the market, but nothing I would brag about. So I always like to conclude these with a calendar. And again, for those not familiar, the second big Jewish holiday, there are more Jewish holidays, but at the beginning of the year, we have Rosh Hashanah, and the second one that follows it 10 days later is Yom Kippur. That's going to be on Wednesday, And I think on I think it's Wednesday. I wrote Wednesday, but I'm not sure if it's Wednesday or Wednesday night now. I think it's Tuesday night and Wednesday. And then the cannabis related news for this week, it's light, but Tilray will report its Q1 on Friday morning and host a conference call. With that, I'm going to sign off and say have a great week and a better quarter.